Hey UK Bills Mafia, this is Christian Wade of your Buffalo Bills. This is the Red, White and Buffalo Blues, a UK Bills podcast with your hosts, Matt and Alex. Let's go Buffalo! Woo!
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Red, White and Buffalo Blues, a UK Bills podcast. Bills news with the UK twist. Matt and Alex, are you feeling all right? Are you joining me on this one? Are we going to have a fun, structured debate or what?
You know what? We're just going to jump right in.
Oh, he's changing it up.
There's no structure to this. I have no notes. There's no outline. We're just going to talk Bills football.
Okay. Lead on.
Do you think we can win a playoff game this year?
Yes. I still think we can.
You gotta tell me where you get this optimism from. We're in a pandemic. I haven't left my house in 4 weeks. The U.S. elections are complete and utter shit. No deal Brexit. How are you the way that you are?
If I could answer that question, I actually I would. But no, it's.
I mean, are you on medications? Like, what beer do you drink? What wine do you drink? I
don't drink. Well, not very often.
Okay.
Don't smoke.
Neither do I. Good.
Don't do drugs.
Attaboy.
I don't know. I just think for me, you've got, there's always going to be disappointment in life, whether it be Bills, whether it be, in my case, West Ham, if anything like that. There's always going to be disappointment no matter where you are in life. So just having that optimism, just having that at least in the back of our mind makes that day for me, make the whole year, the day, the month, the years we've got left on this earth a bit more plausible. And
I see it the exact opposite way. You're a West Ham fan. You're never going to win the Premier League.
You never know.
You're a Bills fan. You literally can't win a Super Bowl. I mean, look at what happened in the 90s. There's something written in the DNA of this logo. I'm a Sabres fan. It can't happen. And I understand. We're 4-2. It's not that bad. We lost to a 5-0 team and now a 5-1 team. But it just feels like I'm ready for more than just making the playoffs. We're not going to beat Tom Brady to win the division. So even winning the division doesn't really mean that much to me.
Okay, that's fair.
So if we go in as, let's say, a 3 or 4 seed and we play... Who do you think we would play in that situation? Pittsburgh, probably, let's say?
Wait, so I'm all confused about this playoff song. So the first gets a bye for a week.
So you're looking at Kansas City, Tennessee, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, us, and then somebody else.
Cleveland.
So let's say we play Pittsburgh. We're 5, Pittsburgh is 4. Do you think right now, we're going to play them later, but do you think we could beat Pittsburgh right now? I'm going to say no.
At this moment, no.
That's a good point. There's 10 more games left to figure this out. Plenty of time.
And hypothetically, if you're saying that we could face the Steelers, we have that week where we play them for gaming, so we can actually play and then game plan for it, make a lot of notes if we know that we're going to play it. I mean, who literally have we played today? that, or this so far this season, that we could face in the playoffs? Titans, Chiefs,
Rams, Super Bowl.
Steelers,
That's it.
2B.
Yeah. So right now, the only two
Steelers 2B down the line.
teams we've played. Miami has a chance. I think Miami has a chance to get that last playoff spot.
Yep. Yeah, no, I agree on that.
But they're going to have Tua going now. It's just.
And first game is against Aaron Donald.
Yeah. It's just It's
Who was
so
going to get
tough for me
Detroit?
to be 10-6 is nice and dandy. A division win is nice and pretty. You get to raise a banner, fantastic. I wanna. Super Bowl was never an option this year, right?
No, it never was.
Okay.
If anyone thought that they would get their Bills would be a Super Bowl this year, they're actually they're completely mistaken and completely wrong on that.
But But after 4-0, we looked better than we thought, right?
On offense, yes.
Yeah, but on defense, yes. Obviously not.
I mean, I saw the optimism even more so after the first 4 weeks when that offense actually just took that jump to the next stage. But
in the last two games,
apart from the last
the
2
offenses,
games, maybe it's just the hype and all that because we started 4-0 or not, but we've seen the progression over the years that they've done it bit by bit. Now I've seen people actually on Twitter actually saying, or on Facebook actually calling for Sean McDermott to be sacked, to be fired.
Oh, piss off! That's too much.
No, seriously,
that's too much.
It was a Facebook post on one of the Bills groups. I don't know what, actually saying he should be fired.
Yeah, that person needs to get kicked out. He
should actually just resign.
I mean, I know I'm bringing a lot of negativity right now, but I was the one yesterday who tweeted, "If you're hating on this team, get out, circle the wagons, let's go." And
yeah,
I still feel that way. It's just maybe I slept wrong. Maybe today was a shit day at work. Maybe I'm 5 beers in, but
did your favorite person actually get Star Baker on Bake Off?
No, you know what? I lost a bet with my wife tonight. We bet the technical who would win, and whoever wins gets to pick the movie tomorrow night, and I lost that. So I'm just on a streak of bad luck. So, you know.
No, but I mean, yeah, there is those in there. I mean, just going through it and going through the game, it's again what I tweeted after the Titans game. The Marv Levy quote will always stay true and stay strong in the memory. In the memory, not in memory. He's actually gone. That's
right. Nope, still alive.
But that saying just needs to be played out all the time. That's where positivity. You get knocked down, you get back up again. Wait, that's a Chumbawamba. That's a
Chumbawamba Tum. We can't legally play that song, or else I would right now.
I might just scan it on my phone.
Yeah,
play it.
It's so tough because it's. I understand why it's okay, but at the same time, I really thought we were turning the corner. I mean, you can't blame the weather because Mahomes threw for what? I think it was 80%.
Something along that lines, yeah.
So is that on Dable not adjusting the play calling to adhere to the weather? Mahomes had a very pedestrian game. All right.
Oh yeah, he did.
Tyreek Hill 3 catches, no receiver over 100 yards. Mahomes under 300 yards,
225 yards.
Yeah. To say that the defense kind of did their job, it's to speak true to that. Absolutely, they gave up too much on the ground, but you held Mahomes in check. You kept the offense in the game. This was a time where Allen was like, to start the game, he was like 2 of 9. I mean, they didn't get him going early, so his confidence got shot in the first quarter. Regardless of that, let's jump ahead to the fourth quarter, right? The Beasley touchdown, 20-17, right? And then the defense, who did their job for most of the game, give us a stop. I was like, look, I was praying to myself, nobody's perfect, right? Mahomes, go fuck up, make a mistake. And then Edwards-Helaire fumbled, but his knee was down, and it was like, all right, here we go. It's when the defense did their job, the offense didn't step up, and then when the offense did their job, the defense didn't step up. That shows to me that when it comes time for pressure, this team can't do it. The Rams game, we had to rely on a penalty to score that final touchdown.
Well,
our defense on that last Chiefs drive, where we needed to stop them, we need to stop them. 2 personal fouls to keep it going. 2 really bad personal fouls to keep it going. How does that happen? Crunch time, this team isn't showing up. 2 weeks in a row. Sorry, not 2 weeks in a row, but the Rams game, they were driving, but they got 2 penalties to keep them in that Rams game. And then this time, the defense fell apart. So crunch time Bills, I'm worried.
Yeah, I mean, I see that. It's the case that you're going to have. We need that game where both come together.
Yeah.
The defense is just going down, down, down. I mean, the game plan. Las Vegas actually pretty much gave the blueprint on really how to obviously limit Mahomes as best as possible.
Well, we did
on there. They started up. They did that well the first quarter, first part of the third quarter, and all that. But then they just gave them too much space. I don't know what it is and why they did it, but they just gave too much space to receivers. I don't know where this pressure.
Yeah. Well, we didn't let the passing offense get a big play. That was our defensive scheme. It's essentially don't let a big passing play, don't let the quarterback run, or don't let the defense or don't let the running back go. It looks like this defense can really only stop one of 3 things, because Tannehill and Mahomes were able to run for big first downs. Running backs were able to gouge just this week. We stopped Henry last week, but didn't stop Tannehill. So last week was stop the run, but couldn't stop the quarterback. This week was stop the quarterback, couldn't stop the running back. And against good teams, you need to step up. And I just don't see it. Again, with the Rams was the one thing that you could argue. I'm arguing against myself here. The Rams game was the defense showed up, the offense showed up for half the game.
Yeah.
What happened after halftime? In this game, the defense showed up for the first half, essentially, because they still couldn't stop the run. But let's talk about the offense first before we get into the defense. What happened with Allen?
It didn't help. There were so many drops in that first series. I mean,
that's 2 weeks again. That's 2 weeks in a row with bad drops. Yeah. Over 5 drops I counted in both games.
I think maybe 1, maybe 2 of them possibly were Allen's fault, either thrown just behind or leading it forward. But
he did seem a little off on a lot of throws.
There were I think about half of those drops were on target. They were actually they weren't in front, weren't behind, not hitting high up wide, not down below, and they just couldn't catch it. I mean, the one that hit Diggs, what initially looked like in the helmet, but just bounced off his chest.
John Brown hit the helmet. John Brown,
was it?
Yeah, it was Brown who in the first quarter had one just bounce right off his hands and face mask. He's not right yet. I want to say there's got to be a reason why he had 0 production last night. So I would consider sitting him against the Jets, because you can start Matt Barkley and beat the Jets. Oh, that didn't happen last year. But it's not going to take much to beat the Jets. So hopefully we have
Yeah.
a get right game coming up. But to talk about the Chiefs game, wide receivers, tight end targets is down. Running game can't get going. I mean, Singletary will have like 2 or 3 good runs in a game, but in terms of consistent run blocking, it's just not there.
Yeah.
I
mean, I'm just going back to John Brown. You said what's done.
Yeah.
He was on the field. They had 53 offensive snaps altogether. He was on the field for 96% of them. Him and Diggs.
So he just couldn't get separation then.
No, and I guess his hamstring's actually playing up a little bit. But the wide receivers and their offensive snaps, and will include tight ends and that and there. Diggs, 51 out of 53, 96%. John Brown, 51 out of 53, 96%. Singletary, 40 out of 53, 75%. Cole Beasley, 34 out of 53, 64%. Gabe Davis, 33, 62%. Tyler Croft, 30, 57%. And then you go down to Isaiah McKenzie, who that game was probably could have been good for him. We didn't utilize him that much.
Yeah.
Only 7 snaps out of 53 for 13% of the shares.
I don't like that Beasley stat. This was another game where Beasley didn't show up in the first half. I mean, he's
on pace.
If you give me time, I could make an argument that Beasley's our most valuable player on offense.
Yeah, no, I kind of agree. I mean, it should be him and Diggs should be 1 and 2 at the moment.
In terms of target share, I mean, Beasley's not an X or Y receiver. He's clearly a slot receiver. But in terms of target share, I want to see him behind Diggs, absolutely. Because when you need 5-6 yards, go for it. But he's shown that he can get 10-15. I mean, he needs to be a bigger part of this offense.
Well, he's on course for his best ever statistical season.
Yeah,
or at least yards wise.
And I would love for them to get him involved early and often. I mean, if you want to establish Allen's confidence in the rain, do little stuff to Singletary, to Beasley. Really just get Josh feeling it. If he starts poorly, like he did the last 2 weeks, then you're looking at a little bit of issues because you know he likes to play hero ball, and hero ball equals too much emotion, not enough logic on the field, and his mechanics go, and he gets the heart racing a little bit more. We need to just calm things down and really script Allen's confidence to start a game, and we didn't. It started really ugly.
Yeah, I mean, there were signs during that they still can execute offensive game plays. They kept the Kansas defense actually steady and in check. I don't think Allen got sacked once.
Nope, no sacks
from it. But I mean, they didn't take advantage of what Henry Ruggs did against Chavaris Ward. In fact, Ward, I think, had probably his best game. In the last couple of weeks.
Well, we really targeted their other cornerback. I forget his name.
Breland.
Yeah, we really targeted Breland and did a good job against him. He had a few penalties and he got beat a few times. It just seemed like the script was there. Like I said, no matter how ugly it got, and it got ugly on the ground at times, the defense really didn't break. And we were down by 3 in the fourth quarter and needed a stop, and it couldn't come up. I mean, we could talk all day about Allen, but the offense isn't the problem, right?
Yeah. It kind of is.
Just say it. Just say it. Don't think. Just say
it. Kind of is. The passing game. Okay. Passing game. Fine. There's no issues with that. There's no issues with Allen and the passing game on there. It's the run.
Issues, but
okay, some, but not.
Yeah,
it's not.
I mean, nothing is perfect, right? But I mean,
it's not a major. I'm going to get the what they do in what was it? They do in theatre. The stick that drag you off the stage. Look, pull you off.
Yeah.
But no, the passing game is not really a major concern on there. It is that run game. I mean, they can't open up holes. I mean, what's it? Singletary's got what altogether this season? What about just under 250 yards or something like that?
If it's under 300, that's embarrassing.
I don't know, but it's
For
they're
Zach
not
Moss to miss 3 games and Singletary to be under 300, 400 yards in what is it? In 6 games? That's bad. You really got to reconsider what's going on there. And
maybe
I argue for the offensive line. I've seen people in our UK Bills Facebook group chat talk about Le'Veon Bell was maybe I want him, and then disappointed we didn't get him. But at the same time, could he do anything behind this offensive line? Who's amazing at pass protection, but can't run block. What's going on?
I don't know. I don't know whether it's a case that they're missing Feliciano, because I know when he was actually healthy, the run game took off quite a bit because he was that type of run-based guard. I think maybe him coming back will be good. I mean, we're losing Cody Ford's now week to week.
Yeah, I would imagine he misses this week.
I mean, Quinton Spain's going to be. I don't know what happened to him. He's going to miss a few weeks here and there.
His production has fallen off. So I mean, he got replaced by Winters.
So now you've got what? You've got Bottiger. You've got Ryan Bates who can play inside. Brian Winters, and I don't know who else. God-wise.
Well, the coaching staff talked in the offseason about offensive line continuity. They don't want to be exchanging guys. Because obviously, if you exchange guys on running downs, the other team's going to know what's coming. You know, you can't have a passing offensive line and a running game offensive line. They're going to have to use the guys that they have and figure out, a zone blocking scheme. More sweeps, more cutbacks. Something's got to happen. I mean, I've seen Ford, I've seen Morse, I've seen Dawkins just run right past guys that they should be blocking.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Hold on. There we go. Oh, there we go. Singletary this season, 71 attempts. 270 yards, 3.8 yards per attempt, longest 18, and 1 touchdown.
You can't be under 4 yards a carry. You want to be closer to 4.5 to be, really good. I imagine the team might be a little bit bloated because of Allen's ability to get big chunk plays.
37 attempts, 143 yards, 3.9 yards per attempt, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, probably just because they're rushing him on 3rd and 1 a lot, so that's hurting his yards per carry. But I like that they brought out Allen's legs last night. It was something that clearly needed to happen because the running game wasn't working. I would have liked to see it more, more spread. I mean, they ran a lot of designed runs. He's better when he's improvising. So if you could maybe talk him into doing a little bit more of that instead of forcing passes, because I think over the last 2 weeks, he's starting to force it. And that's why he's missing a little bit. He's a little bit off. 52% last night. I mean, you can't win a football game like that. And you can't blame the rain again because Mahomes was 79. So I don't know. Looking forward for this offense, we have a get-right game, thank God, against the Jets. But last night, Allen just looked off from the start, and that's on Daboll, I think. You got to get him in, you got to get him going. But that's also on Allen to get your head right. If you don't start well, just let it go,
Yeah.
And then just move on.
Mm.
Figure that out
I mean,
at halftime.
I've got one name for you, and obviously I'm going back onto defense for it. It's something that's popped in my head, something that's actually been said to me during conversation, all that. Star Lutalele.
Yeah.
He is his stats last season, everyone was calling for his head and all that,
You're not going
saying
to
the
get stats
stats
from defensive
don't.
tackle. You're not going to get Aaron Donald stats from defensive tackles, you know? He's
Yeah,
the only one.
but when he was in last year, our rush defense, our run defense was actually good. He's opted out. And it's going to shreds.
Can you really put that on
Our
one
people.
player, though? I mean, Star Milano is probably the biggest situation there.
Yeah,
I
but
I
then.
want to call out if we're switching to defense because I kind of am
Mhm,
ready to switch to defense. I mean, we've agreed that the offense isn't the problem; they'll get right. Uh,
yeah,
on defense, I'm done with big nickel. If you don't
fair
have a
enough.
third linebacker, then you're not going to stop the run. Period.
Yeah.
I mean, Hyde and Poyer are showing a little bit of regression.
Hmm.
This defense couldn't afford anyone to regress. When you look at who we lost in Shaq, Phillips, and Zoe, clearly more important than we all thought. We all thought and trusted in Bean replacing those players and it would be fine. And I was listening to a show the other day, not exactly criticizing Bean, but questioning Bean's legacy and the ability to draft for depth and pick up the right players for depth. Bean's legacy is going to live and die on Allen,
Hmm.
but when you look at Epinesa and Oliver and Addison and Jefferson, I was ecstatic about Quentin Jefferson, and that's not working. The front four is not stopping the run, and then Edmonds is not picking up the right reads. He's hitting the
Yeah.
wrong gaps. He's hitting the wrong holes. He's late to defenders. He's not shedding blocks. If he's not healthy and right, nobody else on this defense is stepping up or can step up, and the system is not sound
No,
enough to afford the loss of Milano in Edmonds'
exactly.
injury. So it's
And
just
that's
they're-
why it shows that you need to pay Milano. Maybe now with
oh,
his injuries
absolutely.
issues this season,
That's
it
that's
might
no
be a
argument.
little. He's got obviously contract year. He was going to pay big bucks. Maybe with the injuries he's had this year, they can work some sort of agreement to give him a long term, load it up at the beginning or the end. Actually, have it small to start with, and then have an incentive that in the next couple of years, if you stay healthy, if you actually accelerate a lot more, we'll add another couple of years on and give you big bucks. Something like that. I'm
There's
not
the
no contract with
possibility
it.
of, I mean, there's the inevitability of cutting Trent Murphy.
Mm,
There's the opportunity of Jerry Hughes retiring. So there's
yeah.
going to be money available. It's just
Mm,
that this team is underperforming their paychecks on defense. And I think it's an opportunity to probably people are talking about Leslie Frazier getting head coaching opportunities, and now we're talking about gutting him. What do you do
yeah.
there? Do you just move on play calling to McDermott, or do you cut Leslie Frazier? How do you feel about that? I mean, how would
Well,
you? What would you do if you're Bean slash McDermott?
well, what happened? Was it last year or the year before? Yeah, we're on a bit of a downturn with the defense. McDermott took over for a game or two, taking play calling, and then that really put the revival in that defense. I would still stick. I'll still stick at least for the season. There's no point actually if you're going to get rid of Frazier, do it at the end of the season. No point doing it now unless you get one of the other positional coaches to step in and actually run it. There's no
Well, of
point
course you
actually.
would.
Yeah, there's no
You just got to
point.
have the confidence in someone else to do something so out of the box.
Yeah,
You need to have a guy
but
who's like, "Hey, I got an idea here. and it's got to be radical. If it's anything like what Frazier's calling, then you don't want to replace him, because what's the point?
I'm kind of wondering now. Again, there's someone else that I've seen somewhere that last year's defense, yeah, it was top 5 ranked. How many of those teams actually have improved this year? How many of those teams from last year made the playoffs and that were faith that could make the playoffs this year? We were playing some weaker teams last year, so the defense was actually good. I mean, we played Jets next week. If the defense plays lights out, are you going to say it's the Jets? They've made the adjustments.
Especially if they play Joe Flacco.
Yeah. So it's one of those that we now know there is a lot of holes. There are holes in this defense now that hopefully they can focus on this during the off season. I mean, you've got a trade deadline coming up. There are some players on the trade that potentially could be traded. Was I reading a Giants or Jets guy? No, Giants. Dalvin Tomlinson, I think his name was. 6'3", 330-pound run stuffer.
Yeah.
To stick up the middle. That's obviously what's missing on there, because you're expecting Phillips, you're expecting Oliver, Jefferson, and all that to try and stop the run. When
Phillips isn't the answer there. Do you really think that this defense is one player away from fixing things? I said they were with a depth corner. I said we need another CB. We need a CB2, but right now we need a CB2. We needed a weak side linebacker, and we need a defensive tackle.
I know we need defensive end.
You can't get all those in one season, you know.
No, that's why they've got to be smart now with it. I mean, the next couple of years, this draft coming up, unless a really good offensive player, I mean, a guy like Kyle Pitts from Florida, tight end, if he becomes you go up and take him, he'll take that offense to another level. He'd be an instant upgrade over
tight end, really,
over Dawson Knox.
I feel like tight ends take time. I mean, name me a tight end who's done well the rookie season. I mean, look at all the good tight ends this year. I would probably say Mark Andrews is the only one. I mean, Hawkinson needed time. Gesicki needed time.
What's it? And Njoku did well in his rookie season. Not excelled.
Yeah.
Noah Fant did well. Not a say. I'm not expecting.
But there's no targets. There's no targets on offense unless we get rid of John Brown. But even then, Gabe Davis takes a step up. I don't think there's targets.
But then there's no targets. Then we focus on defense. I mean,
absolutely.
So I mean, you can get a really decent cornerback, Sean Wade, Caleb Farley, them good solid quarterbacks that you can actually have on the rookie deal for 4 or 5 years, get them developed, keep that low. If they develop into good guys within 3 years, you will have that cap left to actually sort it.
You're thinking like old Bills though. We don't have 3 years to develop a guy. We're in win now. That's why looking back on the Epinesa draft, we need him to be playing now. You know, if you're going to draft a defensive end to develop, look at our defense now. We needed a guy to play now. We needed a linebacker. We needed a cornerback. It's tough because who are you going to get in the second round that really is a game changer? And that's not there. So it's just tough.
Are we talking last year's draft or this year's draft?
This year's draft. Yeah, this year's draft. It's tough to say that there's any game changers in the second round for defensive players. I'd have to really give it a look, but nothing stands out immediately.
There's a couple I can probably think of top of my head.
Hit me.
I've just forgotten their names.
But I know I wasn't going to know them anyway. Defense is not my strong suit. I mean, my whole thing is quarterbacks and in offensive line play. So here we are.
Right.
So here we are, 4-2. The defense is clearly taken up half of our show again. We haven't had much good to say, other than they did a really good job of stopping Mahomes. They didn't
Yeah.
allow the Mahomes big play, so kudos to that. But everything that the defense did well on offense against the passing game, all the players who did well in the pass did horrible to stop the run.
Mm.
Allen
Okay.
couldn't get going. So we talked about what was wrong. I mean, what aside from the defense stopping the pass, what looked good last night?
Justin Zimmer.
Okay.
Justin Zimmer. The second game he's actually
So
played.
you're playing him
and
over Harrison Phillips going forward, yeah?
I would. Yeah. I mean, I can understand why they did it, why they actually dropped Murphy and dropped Harrison Phillips. Studying what their game plan
Benched. They didn't
was.
drop him. Benched. Just
Benched.
we don't want
Healthy
we don't
scratch.
want anybody listening to misinformation.
But I can understand why they do it. Both those guys were good run defense. Maybe if we had those in, Hilaire would not have got the 160 odd yards that he got, but then Mahomes would have actually thrown for 300, 400 yards. That's why they dropped. They rested. No,
Benched.
rested. Let's put rested. They rested.
There you
him.
go.
That's a better word.
Healthy scratch. It's technically called they're a healthy scratch. Inactive.
So why
inactive. So many terms.
Yeah.
Too many terms.
Exactly. But having Zimmer and Brian Cox Jr., who I just thought he needs to just go back. They should have at least kept Murphy in there over that. Maybe that was solidify the run a little bit, but Brian Cox, I don't think did anything on there. But Justin Zimmer, he was there. He's an athletic dude for what he is. I can't remember his exact stats, but he's actually shown a good pressure. He got a load of good pressure. He's actually made a few good plays in there. I can see him. He's now got to be called up, or he's going to be left on the practice squad for the rest of the season.
Mm.
So I can see a move now where they'll put someone in IR maybe, or they'll release someone, and they'll bring up Justin Zimmer, because he was the one bright spark out the front four at least.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
I
got to
agree
see
with
a bit
that.
of Addison. But it's hard to really say. That's probably the bright spot on defense. To be honest, I can't really see anything else on there. On offense, there was a bit of spark. Obviously, we mentioned Beasley and Diggs. Obviously, did what he could. He was unlucky with that bomb that just went out of his hands.
Yeah, that's such a tough catch, though. Anyway, that would have been real.
But there are some goods on there. We've got a bye week coming up. Yes, I know we've got the Jets, but
4 weeks.
I'm still in class.
Jets, Patriots, Seahawks, Cardinals, then bye week.
Yeah, but I've classed the Jets as a bye week because they'll probably be, if they still have Flacco, it's probably going to be just as good as a bye week. But we've got a chance to refresh, regroup, and actually get that working.
All right. So the other week we picked the rest of the season. So let's pick the Bills again, real quick, based off of these last two losses. So you had them at 13-3. I think I had them at 12-4. Let's go through it again. Jets.
Okay.
Win. Patriots home.
Win.
Seahawks home.
Loss.
At Cardinals.
Win.
Loss. Bye week. Home Chargers.
We win the bye week. No, win against Chargers.
Win Chargers. At San Francisco.
Win.
I'm gonna say loss.
They won't if they don't have Thomas, if they don't have Bosa on there.
Yeah, we'll
see.
think they looked good against the Rams. They looked sound against the Rams. That's what I want the Bills to look like. I want them to look sound.
Mm.
You know, Garoppolo had a bounce back week. I think. Let's continue quickly. Pittsburgh home
Yes. Loss.
loss at
I think
Broncos
I'm win.
win at Patriots.
Win.
I'm ready to sweep the Patriots. I'm going to say win, and then home Miami.
Win. So
I'm
I've
going to
dropped
say
down to
loss.
12-4.
I'm going to say loss because we're not going to need it. We're going to be locked into a playoff spot. We're not going to need that win. So
I've dropped to 12-4
let's talk about the
then.
big games, though. Let's talk about the big games. We're looking at Seattle, Arizona, San Francisco, Pittsburgh are the big games. Those and
Yeah.
probably one of the Patriots games. It'll be okay to split, but that's still going to be a really important matchup. We're looking at 1, 2, 3 easy wins the rest of the season. Maybe 4 easy wins the rest of the season. The rest of them are going to be really challenging. We're going to have to split. Seahawks, Cardinals, Niners, Steelers. You got to go 2-2 there. So you're thinking Cardinals, Niners are wins for you, but I unfortunately had them all as a loss. I'm winning. You're in. Just get in, right? Is the idea. Anything can happen once you make the playoffs. I just want to see us beat a team who is playoff caliber, right? And we did with the Rams, but it was ugly. I want to have a sound victory against a playoff team to really give me that confidence.
No, that's fair. I mean, as I said, I've dropped down from 13-3 to 12-4 with that. I still maintain the results. I think the only one I changed was which one I changed now. But
I think did you have a Steelers, right? You said lost Steelers.
Yeah, I hadn't win last time.
Yeah.
No, it is one of those that it can go either way. I can see us actually going 12-4. I mean, there are games are there to be had. Everyone's got their weakness. Seen it a couple of times on there. I mean, the Cardinals beat up on a very poor Dallas team from a very poor conference. I mean, Murray had, I think, less than 150 yards, maybe even less than 100 yards. They ran on Kenyon Drake all the way through.
Yeah, they were able. I mean, if Kenyon Drake can have that kind of game, you saw what Edwards-Helaire did. I mean, in terms of running games, the Patriots with Newton, the Cardinals are a dual threat running team. The Niners can run. The Steelers can run. The Broncos can run. It's tough for me to only see, in your case, it's tough to only see 2 more losses going forward. I'm really looking at 3 or 4 losses going forward through the year. But we'll reassess probably after the Patriots game, because the Jets game is not really going to show us anything. The home Patriots game and the home Seahawks game are going to be really, really important games to really understand what this Bills team is before their bye week. Fan questions.
Well, I think we've probably pretty much gone over most of them anyway. I mean, we've got Chris Payne saying, and I think we mentioned it earlier, do you attribute the lack of the running game to running back's ability or the O-line? He thinks O-line because Singletary, when given a lane to run through, hits it well. Moss hasn't played enough to gauge his ability yet.
The most important thing when it comes to a running back's ability to mesh well with that offensive line is to see the holes. Now, I would need to go back and watch the tape to see if he's missing his lanes, because not as you could see a gap, but it could be because a linebacker is about to fill it. It's all about understanding where the hole is and where the linebacker is going to be. Running back is, in this season, before the season, I talked a lot about running back being a plug-and-play position. And now that the Bills running backs are struggling, I'm really analyzing more of what the running back position is responsible for and
Yeah.
understanding the right hole. There could be two, there could be three. Where's the linebacker going to go? How strong is the gap integrity? Singletary's still
Yeah.
a young guy. He got to learn from Gore, but we're just not seeing it all work out. And I really think that it wasn't a big focus in the offseason from this offense. It was all about getting Allen right. So
Yeah.
right now, I'm ready to attribute our running back woes to like almost 50-50, probably 60-40 offensive line problem.
Yeah. The next one we talked about all the way through from Jason Parker on Twitter. Is it time to finally panic about our defense? I think we've discussed that quite a bit
Yeah, I mean
already.
to answer it quickly, let's give him the respect to answer the question. I'm
I'm a no.
You're not ready to
I'm still
panic.
I'm still not I'm still not going to panic about it. Yes.
All right, so
Yes, that game there were parts of me that was actually screaming, well, not actually screaming because obviously the time,
little too
but
late. Yeah.
getting frustrated with some of the play and how they abandoned it. But you can still see that they had that game plan, whether it be take one or take the other, that we know that they can do both. Can they just put it together at the same time? Because we stopped Henry. You said we stopped Henry, we stopped Josh Jacobs their week before, two top 5 running backs in the league last year. We stopped them. Okay, we didn't stop the passing game. In this one, we sort of stopped the passing game, but didn't stop the running game. There's not too much to panic about. If we fail to stop Mahomes with the game plan and let Hilaire carry on doing what he does, then I will start to panic a little bit. If they did that against Tennessee as well, I would have actually panicked a bit. But you can see there are still those pieces and those game plans that are actually working. Yes, there's probably there's a couple of pieces that probably need to be filled, that we need a bit of depth for before we can actually truly not even have to worry about this defense. But I'm not panicking at the moment.
How low would you say the defense would be allowed to be ranked for us to have success in the playoffs?
I would say out 20th.
Okay. So only one team last year was ranked under 20 and made the playoffs, and that was the Seahawks. Only one team. So you're really playing with it there a little bit in terms of what you're going to be allowed to do. They won one playoff game and lost their other. In terms of bottom 15 playoff defenses, you only had 3 in the Eagles, the Texans, and the Seahawks last year. So really, you have to have a full team. And looking at defensive ranks this year, the Bills are ranked 24th. In terms of playoff teams, I'm not going to consider any NFC East team because that's a mess. But right now, we would be the lowest ranked playoff team in terms of where our defense is sitting. I mean, that's below Washington, Cincinnati, the Giants, the Lions. You're not going to get good defensive play from a team that's not ready to make the playoffs. The Dolphins are ranked 6th on defense, and right now they're fringe playoff. But the defense needs to get it together, or else we're going to lose our first playoff game.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
So I'm going to say worried. You're not.
I'm saying I'm not.
Okay.
Quickly, Simon Evans on Facebook. Do you think it's time to move on from Jerry Hughes? He's been a ghost so far this season and never holds his outside contain. He's been a bit of a liability.
He absolutely has not been a liability. When you look at the defensive end pressure rates, he's up there in the league. Let me see if I can get advanced stats on pressure rate for an individual player. I don't think I'm going to get
40%, I believe, 39%.
Yeah,
He's in the
so
35
I'm
to
not
40
gonna
range.
get defensive stats. Yeah, I don't have individual defensive pressure stats, but I did read. If you follow one of the more professional podcasts out there, Joe Buscaglia talks a lot about Jerry Hughes' individual pressure rate, and no, not his pressure rate, his ability to shed his blocker. So Hughes beats his blocker on over 50% of his downs, and that's a positive player there. The problem
But
with
then
Hughes
again,
is he beats his blocker, but nobody else is there to help him get to the quarterback. The quarterback can easily just get around Hughes.
you've got this stat. Okay, this was taken before the Chiefs game, that he had the most total pressures without a sack with 19.
Yeah, and I
19
think
total
that has a lot to
pressures.
do with the fact that he's beating his blocker, but nobody else is helping him get pressure on the quarterback. Most of the times you see a sack, it's because the defender had an open gap because other guys did their job, or you're getting two guys get pressure and one guy gets the sack. Hughes can't do it all by himself. He's doing all he can. So it's not time to talk about Hughes being washed up. It's time to talk about the fact that he needs help. So if we can get another
Yeah.
defensive end come in, if we can get Epinesa to work on it, if we can get Addison, Leslie Frazier is quoted by saying, "You can teach block shedding. Show me."
Yeah. Next question is actually from a Chiefs fan.
Yikes.
It's from Neil Blair, the guy we actually interviewed at the beginning of the season. He goes, "Why did you punt at the start of the fourth? Again, why? Surely your coaches knew your chance of winning at that point were shot if you punt. Back in the defense, question mark, allowing 7 yards a carry. It does my head in when teams play conservative against the Chiefs."
I absolutely agree with that. There was, what was it, 4th and 7 though? I'm not
Fourth,
in from like
fourth
our
and
own
sixth,
40.
fourth and sixth, because they were on a 4-and-1. Then
I mean,
there was
I'm not ready to mess
start.
around with that. That's maybe a little bit too much. Beginning of the fourth quarter, like I said, we got the game close. We were down by 3. We needed the defense to get a stop for our offense to have a shot, and they couldn't do it. So
Yeah. And another one on Twitter from Dave Thorpe. We knew our D sucked this year, but where's the offense from the first 4 weeks gone? It's just the opposite. It looks different these last 2 weeks. It's like a neutered puppy. Why? Bring back MVP Josh and the 1-0 personnel.
yeah, no, it's really interesting to see what has happened with Josh the last 2 weeks. You're looking at a team who last year won the Super Bowl and a team who made the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
Those games are not going to be easy. Mahomes didn't play MVP last night. He was a game manager last night. 2 red zone touchdown throws, under 300 yards, 80% completion. He dink and dunked us. He hit his tight ends for his touchdowns, his safety valve player. Our passing game didn't get blown up last night. So when you speak to that, when you look at Allen, he's going to have these games. Allen still, if you want to look at it from a statistical point of view, probably going to be top 5 fantasy football quarterback by the end of the year. He's going to put up numbers still. I mean, you're looking at games against the Jets, Seattle, the Chargers, the Dolphins. Oh, the Dolphins haven't been too bad, but the Broncos.
But then Josh owns the Dolphins.
Yeah. You have beatable passing defenses coming up. So Allen will put up stats. It's just that we played 2 really good teams and we played one of them close. That's good for a team who's on the rise. I want to see by the end of this year, we get over the hump of being able to beat a playoff team. Let's see that happen soon.
We've played still last night we played a load of 1-0 personnel. We spread them out quite a bit on there. I think that is good for Josh, and I mean he is actually growing. Like I think it was on for the what play was it? I think it was the touchdown play. Was it? No, where he actually or a little bit earlier where he checked the line. Fire truck.
Yeah. No. Yeah. And aside from that, on our last drive of this second half to get Tyler Bass that field goal opportunity. A great check down. He saw that they were, bringing full blitz, and he checked down the loft pass to Diggs. Diggs gets out of bounds with 2 seconds to go. Allen knows how to read a defense. It's just that the drops plus suspect play calling at times and not being able to establish a running game is what held him back the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the last one is a bit of a light, fun one to end the show. It's from Christopher Locke on Facebook. Something about him. He was actually he jumped ship from the Cowboys to the Bills.
Welcome.
Which seemed to coincide with the Bills losing against the Titans and the Chiefs.
So it's this guy's fault.
So if we only want to blame Chris Locke, but he said, do you think we should wear red helmets at least once a season?
I love the standing buffalo, clearly, but we've all seen the mock-up of the red helmet in the Jim Kelly style uniform, red helmet, blue jersey. That would be great. The one thing that I did read about the NFL's player safety situation is they're not allowed to swap out helmets, only decals. So we can go to the standing buffalo on the white helmet that we currently have, but I don't think we're allowed to go with a completely different helmet.
That's fair. So next season we can all start.
If we switch to it, yeah. But I love the uniforms now. I would wear more blue. I love the blue on white, and they love white on white or white on blue this season. But inconsequential.
Yes.
So
that was a nice light-hearted one to actually end the show on.
Light-hearted. I feel like I need a few more beers. I'm
surprised you weren't drinking while doing the show.
This team was stressing us out by winning games close. Now they're stressing us out by, I don't want to say imploding. We're 4-2 and we just lost to 2 amazingly good teams. If we don't blow out the Jets, I don't even need to blow out. 23-10, I'll be very happy and back on it. We need a sound, no mistake game against an inferior opponent next week, and then a very big game against the Patriots the week after.
Yeah. So all we got to say, I mean, this has been a completely weird episode, to be honest. We've had no structure, no script, and all that. I wonder how many people have actually switched off after I said it's not going to be a structured program. But no, I'm going to leave it on one positive note. Last night we finally broke the 1,000 mark on Twitter. We started on 987. As of this recording, we're at 1,061.
Smashed it.
So continue. We all thank everyone new that's followed us, and obviously please keep spreading the word.
Hit that retweet. Tell your friends. Let's grow the Bills Mafia in the UK.
Exactly. We've got a lot of good stuff coming up. I mean, we're now about 10 shows away from our 100th podcast episode.
Yep.
And trust me, if I'm getting the guest I think I can get and actually going to get, I think it's going to be a really good show. Maybe don't keep it a secret from me too long. I would like to prepare. Well, I won't. I've already told you one person. Well, no, I don't think I have.
That's great.
I'm just waiting for the actual confirmation that they will actually they'll do it before we can arrange a time.
Okay.
It may be a case that it'll have to be pre-recorded for the show,
works.
but no, continue showing the love, following us on Facebook with Buffalo Bills UK. Again, join us. There's a post, announcement on there. Just put your name in there if you want to be added to the group chat, which is fun. It's getting a little more interaction now. Buffalo Bills UK on Facebook. I've already just said Buffalo Bills UK on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. I know Alex works hard on it. Hopefully we can have more content on there. I'll devise some of it. I'll let him do most of the work on there.
Yeah.
UK_Bills on Instagram. Obviously our Twitter handle at RWBB_podcast for this podcast, and at UK_Bills for the main account. So unless you have anything scripted that you've written down that you want to say to end the show, Alex?
Terry Bradshaw is a piece of shit. Troy Aikman's an asshole. Joe Buck can go to hell. Go Bills.
Then for me and Alex is good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you for listening, watching, and subscribing. And go Bills.
Go Bills.